Well, we will go across to the big breaking news that we are tracking here on Mirror Now, where all flights across the United States have been grounded due to a technical glitch, a glitch with the Federal Aviation Administration's computer systems. This is, of course, according to US media. All flights have been grounded and delayed across the United States of America after a major system failure. Airports in the US have been thrown into chaos after this system's failure has grounded hundreds of flights. This, as of now, seems like an indefinite grounding after the FAA, or Federal Aviation Administration, reportedly suffered a nationwide system error. This could have a knock-on effect on aviation across the globe. Passengers have been complaining about being stuck on the planes on the tarmac for hours at airports in several different parts of the country. In a tweet, the Federal Aviation Administration has said that the FAA is working to restore its notice to air mission system. FAA has also said that we are performing final validation checks and re-uploading the systems now. Operations across the national airspace system are affected, and FAA has also said that they will provide frequent updates as they keep making progress. Joining me live on this broadcast is my colleague Ananya on this phone line. Ananya, appreciate you joining us on this big breaking. Please share more details. What else do we know? US FAA has also said that flight personnel alert system is not processing updates after this outage. Do we have any timeline yet? Do we know what exactly has happened? We do know that over 400 flights have been delayed within, into, or out of the United States as of right now.
You're right, Raksha, and we must remember that these are the initial hours of this news breaking. So information is still pouring in, and I'm assuming the authorities are also putting the information together at their end. What we do understand at this point is that they have realized there's a technical glitch with the Federal Aviation Administration's computer system, which in other words is a computer outage, and because of which flight operations across the entire length and breadth of the United States of America have been affected. And you can imagine how major this an impact this is going to have across air travel in the United States and across the world, because it will impact flights into and out of the United States as well. So what we understand right now, hundreds and hundreds of flights have been affected. They are grounded because there's a technical failure, and there is no timeline that is available as of now from any of the authorities as to how much time this would take to restore the system. We do have a tweet that is coming in from the Federal Aviation Authority's Twitter handle, which says that it's working to restore its notice to air mission system, and we're performing the final validation checks and reloading the system now, which means that they're trying their best to get the system back in order. The Los Angeles airport is also putting out a tweet in response to this and saying that the FAA is working to resolve a national systems issue. Let's focus on that again. A national systems issue. This is not limited to one airport, one airline, or just any isolated location. This is so huge that this has impacted operations across the length and breadth of the United States of America, which means even when systems are restored in the end, it is likely to impact the schedule of flights to and from the United States, as well as domestic flights in the U.S. as well. Raksha?
Ananya, thank you so much. Really appreciate you joining us on such short notice about this big breaking that we're tracking here. Exactly to take from what Ananya, my colleague, has just shared with us, I will quickly want to go across to Mr. Chandrasekhar Nene, who is an aviation expert, who is joining us live on this broadcast. Mr. Nene, so it's great to have you on the show. Thank you for joining us. But if you could explain these terms to our viewers and to me to exactly understand the implication of what this means. This is a nationwide outage in the United States of America. And when they say that it is NOTAM, or the Notice to Air Missions system, that has completely failed and which they are trying to reload. What are the repercussions of this exact failure?
You see, the modern aircraft transport across such a wide range as United States, which is 3,000 miles across, needs a lots and lots of information for each and every pilot about the condition in the air. Mainly, it needs to know what is the weather condition, what is the level of other flights, because there is a 1,000-meter separation between two different airplanes, 1,000 to 2,000 meter separation in the heights. If that height is not known, then there could be mid-air collision. So they need that information, and that is given to them in NOTAM. NOTAM means Notices to Airmen, which is a briefing to the pilot before the pilot takes off. Now, if the NOTAM system fails, then the pilot doesn't have any information. It's like flying blind in a very heavy traffic condition. So it is simply not done because this is very risky. And for this not to happen, the system has to be in place. It's very surprising that the system-wide outage has happened because these systems are designed to be fail-safe with lots and lots of information and backup systems. So something really terribly tragic has happened in the system development and design phase. And this way, they will not allow any aircraft to take off. Exactly as I said, it is like flying blind. And blind flying means accidents. Hello? And one more thing I must emphasize,
yes,
that when the
of
flight...
course, Mr. Nene, we are hearing you.
Yeah. One more thing I must emphasize, when the flights are within the United States, they also impact the flights to and fro United States from the workplace. So all the flights which were supposed to go from USA into other countries and the other country flights which were supposed to come into USA will also have to be stopped or rediverted or something like that. It's a major, major chaos. And how they are going to handle it. Plus, what is very important is they are saying this is an indefinite closure. Means they have not located the problem. Means unless they locate the problem, they will have to solve the problem. Looks like something terrible has happened. Could it be that somebody is trying to finger with the United States systems to give them a test that if there is a war or something, this is what is in store for you? This is terrible news. This is not something good. And I am sure that the Indian aviation experts are taking a due note of it and taking their own systems as we talk now. That's very important. This shouldn't happen in any country.
Right, exactly. Mr. Nene, absolutely. Please stay on with us. Thank you so much for explaining all of that to me and the viewers who are watching us on Mirror now. I will quickly go across to another aviation expert who is joining us live on this broadcast, Mr. Vipul Saxena. Mr. Saxena, if I can ask you, what are the implications of this for the Indian aviation sector? Thank you so much for joining us on Mirror now. If you could please explain to us, should India also be worried?
Yeah, absolutely. It is worrisome for the whole globe because US is the highest traffic country where in and out of flights from almost every country transit. So in that situation, when this computer glitch has come, it is something like you have a multi-road, crossing, and your traffic signal goes bad or goes off. Then what happens? The total chaos. So such chaos in the sky is very, very dangerous, and it can really cause catastrophe. And I think in that situation, the action which has been taken by U.S. government and FAA, I think it's quite a safe action. And I wish soon as possible the flights come and land to Canada and whichever country they've been diverted. And I'm sure it will take some time because till this glitch is correct and tested for the correctness, no flight can be resumed in the public interest.
Right.
Hello?
Absolutely, Mr. Saxena, which is what, yes, Mr. Saxena, if you can hear me, this is exactly what Mr. Nene, another aviation expert, was sharing with us about what this exact system is. So, for my viewers, again, a NOTAM, which is the system that has failed, is a notice containing information essential to personnel concerned with flight operations. So this system that has failed is actually it is the system that carries all the information that is essential for all kinds of flight operations, whether it's takeoff, landing, and others. But this is now what we know is that technicians are currently working to restore the system, and over 400 flights have been delayed. So, Mr. Saxena, is there also a sense of a security lapse? Could this also mean that there's probably a cyberware attack? Do we have any understanding of how this system could have failed? What are the possible reasons for this to have happened?
Yeah, if I think the first thing which comes in mind is possible cyber attack by Chinese or Russians, because both are anti-Americans, and the way America is supporting Ukraine, I think one of these countries must have tried to bring America on the knees, or maybe some Islamist people. I mean, it could be anything, pertaining to security threat to America, to bring America to collapse in this way. And unless investigation reveals the facts on ground, we really can't, speculate. But this could be one of the reasons.
Thank you so much, Saxena. Please stay on with us. We will also go back to Mr. Chandrasekhar Nene, another aviation expert who has been with us on Mirror now on this big breaking. Mr. Nene, if we know that 400 flights right now are delayed within, into, or out of the United States. So this is what we are understanding from a flight tracking website called Flight Aware, but it is not immediately clear if this is the only limited number. But if we also want to understand what kind of circuits can this blackout in across the length and breadth of the United States, what kind of circuits can this impact? If we look at like a global map, then do we also know whether that kind of an outage will also impact, say, other parts of the world which are away from the US, where, you know, probably flights are not concerned to be taking those routes? Or does this also mean that even if there's a flight operating from another hemisphere altogether, will there also be some kind of an impact on global aviation immediately?
Impact would be on the connectivity flights which are coming into US or going out of US, and which are, say, an hour or 2 hours from the borders of US. Beyond that, the impact doesn't percolate. But what is happening, see, NOTAM server will be there with the FAA somewhere in their headquarters. That server has crashed. And NOTAM server crashing means none of the flying crew gets information pertaining to their flights. Also, remember, this is midnight in most of the US. So thankfully, because of that, the number of domestic flights is less. Otherwise, the chaos would have been terrible. And we are talking about the flights which are going to land or which are going to take off. What about the flights which are mid-air? They don't know where to go. They will go according to their old NOTAM, but things may have changed. Nobody knows. And this is now they will have to fly manual. They will have to go with their manual readings and talking to the airports themselves as to how the conditions are. And remember, there's a storm raging across US, particularly in the California side. This is a very, very terrible situation. If God is great, then there won't be any accidents. Otherwise, we are looking at some kind of catastrophes around. The usual response for such from the airlines is in a standstill mode. Wherever you are, don't take off. Wherever you are, land to the nearest airport which is cleared for you. And that is what they will do. That will throw the schedule in more terrible situation. And we are actually looking at a possible scenario of a cyber warfare and crippling a country as powerful country as US. So think about what can happen for smaller countries. Smaller countries will totally be smothered if such a thing happens. It is very easy to induce a virus in these servers, considering the new hacking skills and the new technologies which are abounding everywhere. You introduce the virus does its work, and suddenly everything is gone. Boom. So we'll all have to strengthen our cyber security now. All the cyber security experts in our country, in USA, they will have to sit together and develop a very, very effective firewall across these crucial servers. This is just one such server. There will be a server which controls the power grid of the United States. If that server fails, think of what happens. It's like a doomsday scenario, if you will, a cyber doomsday scenario. We have to be very, very careful in analyzing what is happening and also take lessons from that for our own country. Our own country is not a small country either. We also need to take major lessons from this. I'm sure the cyber security and the hacking community and the community of decision makers on these things are watching this very carefully and heeding the warnings which we are giving on this channel. Thank you very much for your channel to bring this out into the public domain. Very important.
Mr. Nene, thanks for all those words of praises for us. Yes, we are trying to only, talk about this because this, citizens are at the heart of what we are trying to do here. But this is also a big news. And as you rightly pointed out, this is worrisome for also India and across the world. Whoever needs to be careful and be tracking what kind of updates we have on this story. So we also would like to share with our viewers that several other airports now across the US have come out with their statements. So Milwaukee Airport has said that you must check your flight status if you're traveling today. They have informed their followers on Twitter saying that a system outage at the FAA is preventing aircrafts from departing at airports nationwide. They have also said that please keep in touch with your airline if you are scheduled to fly this morning.
Traveling public is.
I will again go across to Mr. Vipul Saxena, who is still, or Mr. Chandrasekhar Nene, actually, whom I still have with me on the phone line. I want to understand, Mr. Nene, that, a lot of airports have come out and said there are also users who have started tweeting. We can see that American Air has responded. They have started replying to tweets of individual flyers who are now currently tweeting about this outage, and they're all saying that all flights will be delayed, but they are willing to look into individual PNRs of every flyer to help them track their flight status. But these are early morning flights. There are some flights that have already been cancelled. Another user on Twitter has said that somebody was flying from the US and there is a flight from Manila to Tokyo that has also been cancelled, and they have asked if the Philippines aviation fiasco has messed up the NAIA's global accreditation. There are several concerns, Mr. Nene, there are several concerns. There are a lot of people who are suffering. If you can also help us understand that, is there a timeline that you can probably suggest as to how much time a system failure such as this will need to be reloaded?
Reloading such a system can be done within a couple of hours' time. The point is, when you reload, what position you start from with, because the system has all information of all flights till the time it failed. So if that information is not available, then you will have to restart with every flight and its information. It's a massive task. That may take itself for some 3 to 4 hours. And considering this is a night time in USA, all the experts will have to be woken up and brought into the offices and things like that. This is not a daytime situation. We are in daytime in India, so we forget that it's night time in US. What my advice to the travelers would be that they should immediately cancel all their travel plans and go home or wherever they are. If they are on the land, they are at least safe. If they go up there in the air and something happens, there is a terrible price to pay. So this is the time for 2-3 days nobody should move, because when the system comes back online, it needs to be tested thoroughly. There is no guarantee that this cannot happen again. Unless they know how this virus entered the system, they won't be able to tell how to prevent the next one. So it is going to be some time now till it kind of resumes. Whatever technical manpower USA has, whatever technical superpower USA has, it has to be given its due time for the safety of the passengers and the aircrafts too. It's a very dangerous situation.
Right, Mr. Nene, I will again share with our viewers that the FAA is working to restore what is known as the Notice to Air Missions System, or the NOTAM. And the NOTAMs are used to be available through a hotline, but that was phased out with the internet. And the alerts that span from mundane information about construction at airports to urgent flight restrictions or broken equipment, this is the system that has failed. These alerts are currently not being available. I'm joined by another aviation expert on the phone line, Mr. Sanjay Karve. Mr. Karve, appreciate you joining us on Mirror Now.